Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Pertama sekali, terima kasih kepada rakan-rakan media kerana sudi bersama dengan kami daripada Parti Pejuang Tanah Air. Hari ini kita akan ada satu sidang media daripada Ahli Parlimen Parti Pejuang yang akan dipengerusikan oleh Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Sebelum kita mulakan, sekali lagi saya ingatkan kepada rakan-rakan media untuk pastikan mic tuan-tuan puan-puan semua dalam keadaan mute supaya tidak mengganggu PC pada hari ini. Dan pada masa yang sama, sewaktu sesi soal jawab, boleh tulis nama tuan-tuan dan puan-puan di ruangan chat untuk kita beri aturan kepada soalan tuan-tuan untuk memastikan kelancaran PC pada hari ini. In the benefit of our international friends from the international media, the PC will start soon. We would also like to remind everyone to please keep your mics on mute. And during the Q&A sessions, please do type in your names in the chat box so we can give you your turns to ensure that the PC goes on smoothly. Thank you so much, everyone. My name is Ulia Akama bin Husamuddin. I am the Ketua Penerangan or Chief of Information. Saya Ulia Husamuddin, Ketua Penerangan bagi Parti Pejuang Tanah Air. Tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, saya serahkan kepada Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Silakan, Tun.
Terima kasih, Ulia. Pagi ini kita telah lihat satu perjumpaan diadakan di Dewan Rakyat yang dikatakan adalah satu persidangan parlimen. Tetapi yang diterang dalam agenda ialah sesi penerangan. Tak ada disebut bahawa ini sidang parlimen biasa. Iaitu dalam sidang parlimen, apa juga yang nak dilakukan oleh kerajaan diletak di hadapan parlimen dan parlimen akan bahas, akan pindah, akan bersetuju ataupun akan menolak. Tapi ini tidak begitu. Ini adalah majlis untuk penerangan. Yang mana ini bermakna bahawa prosedur biasa parlimen tidak dijalankan. Oleh itu, kita tidak boleh terima ini sebagai satu persidangan parlimen. Sebaliknya, Duli Yang Maha Mulia Yang di-Pertuan Agong telah membuat kenyataan pada 16 Jun, iaitu Sri Paduka Baginda menzahirkan pandangan bahawa persidangan parlimen perlu diadakan secepat mungkin untuk membolehkan ordinan-ordinan darurat dan plan pemulihan negara dibahaskan oleh ahli-ahli Dewan Rakyat. Tak disebut bahawa diterangkan ataupun dibuat penerangan dalam Dewan. Dibahaskan oleh ahli-ahli Dewan Rakyat. Membahas bermakna pihak Dewan Rakyat berhak untuk menolak, meminda ataupun menerima penerangan ordinan dan plan pemulihan negara ini. Tetapi ada agak jelas bahawa tidak ada sidang parlimen pada pagi ini. Sebaliknya ialah ada satu majlis penerangan oleh kerajaan kepada wakil-wakil rakyat yang diadakan di Dewan Rakyat. Itu sebenarnya yang berlaku. Sebab itu kami dalam Pejuang berpendapat bahawa yang untuk menurut kitab Duli Yang Maha Mulia, maka satu persidangan parlimen iaitu untuk membahas, menolak ataupun meminda ordinan darurat dan plan pemulihan negara di dalam Dewan. Walaupun demikian, kita berpendapat bahawa banyak kenyataan-kenyataan yang dibuat dalam Dewan oleh kerajaan tidak menepati prosedur dan tidak mengikut cara-cara biasa. Umpamanya diumumkan bahawa segala ordinan-ordinan yang dilulus, yang diperkenal ataupun dilulus di waktu darurat sudah dimansuh. Tidak lagi, kerana ini bermakna bahawa ordinan ini melibatkan perbelanjaan wang dan sebagainya. Apabila ordinan ini dimansuh, apa jadi kepada peruntukan wang yang telah dibelanjakan ataupun yang akan dibelanjakan? Ini yang menjadi soal kepada kita, dan kalau tidak ada perbahasan dalam Dewan, maka sukarlah bagi pihak parti-parti lawan, Pejuang terutamanya, membahas kedudukan ordinan-ordinan ini. Ini juga satu lagi perkara yang agak aneh, ialah darurat diisytiharkan kerana COVID-19. Di waktu ia diisytihar, COVID-19 ini kes baru cuma 2,000. Itu sudah menjadi satu masalah sehingga kerajaan memohon supaya diadakan pengisytiharan darurat. Tetapi sekarang ini, kes COVID sudah meningkat kepada 17,000 dan kerajaan berkata bahawa darurat akan tamat. Jadi tak masuk akal. Di waktu dianya begitu serius, kita tak nak darurat, dan waktu dia tak begitu serius yang boleh ditangani oleh kita declare darurat. Yang mana ini proof bahawa apa yang dikatakan oleh parti lawan termasuk Pejuang, bahawa darurat ini adalah untuk politik kerajaan dan bukan untuk menangani masalah COVID. Kita berpendapat bahawa keadaan sekarang adalah begitu serius dan sepatutnya pada hari ini kita membincang berkenaan dengan cara-cara untuk mengurangkan kes-kes baru jangkitan daripada COVID-19 ini. Tetapi ini nampak tidak ditumpukan oleh kerajaan. Sebaliknya, kerajaan membincang berkenaan dengan angka-angka yang tidak relevan berbanding dengan perkembangan penyakit wabak 19 ini, wabak COVID-19 ini. Sebab itu kita berpendapat bahawa sepatutnya sidang selama 5 hari ini tidak diadakan untuk memberi penerangan, kerana ini tidak menolong kita dalam usaha kita untuk melawan wabak COVID. Sebaliknya dibincangkan akan cara-cara kita boleh mengurangkan perkembangan penyakit ini. Penyakit ini sudah tingkat sampai kepada 17,000 pada satu hari dan beratus orang mati dan ada ramai pula yang menggantung diri. Ini amat serius. Tetapi tumpuan ialah kepada plan-plan yang dibuat oleh kerajaan. Dan plan-plan yang dibuat oleh kerajaan setakat kita tahu tidak pernah mencapai kejayaan. Daripada 2000 di waktu diadakan pilihan raya di Sabah sehingga sekarang ini sudah ada isytihar darurat, sudah ada isytihar plan, tetapi jumlah meningkat sepanjang masa. Ini yang menakutkan rakyat. Rakyat takut mereka juga akan dijangkiti dengan penyakit ini. Tetapi nampak jelas bahawa kerajaan lebih suka untuk menjelaskan tindakan-tindakan kerajaan, tetapi semua tindakan ini tidak berjaya untuk kurangkan kes baru COVID-19 ini. Itu saja nak saya katakan. Kalau ada soalan silakan.
Terima kasih Tun. Sebelum kita buka pada soalan, mungkin ada penambahan Datuk Seri Mufis atau yang lain-lain. Kalau tiada, saya akan terus buka pada soalan. Baik, Saya buka kepada Q&A. First and foremost, Pamela daripada CNA. Go ahead, Pamela.
Thanks, Ilya. Hi, Tun. Today, Prime Minister officially announced in Parliament that he will be inviting representatives from political parties, including Pejuang, to join the National Recovery Council. Will you be joining if you're invited, or do you have certain terms before you agree to join? Thank you.
It is obvious that this is a political political body where members of where leaders of the opposition parties are also invited, and I believe, of course, there will be members of the government party. So it is a political grouping, not one that is directed towards dealing with the increase in the number of new cases of COVID-19. What I would like to see, what we have been pushing for, is that there should be a body that is not political, but mainly filled with professional people conversant with handling pandemics, epidemics, and diseases such as this virus epidemic. That is what we want. So for politicians to go there, politicians basically do not understand medicine. I think I do a little bit because I've been trained as a doctor. But most of the others would be talking about politics. Anything that they do is about becoming popular, getting more votes and all that. That is not the kind of body I would like to join.
Thank you, Tun. Nicholas from FMT, go ahead.
Thank you, Ilya. Hi, Tun. Hope you're well. Tun, you previously said that if parliament sittings were, like you said, just a briefing, Pejuang would be boycotting the sittings. So just wondering if the next few days, Pejuang won't be attending?
Yeah, we are forced to attend because we don't know what the government would do if we don't attend. If we don't criticize them, they might be doing all kinds of funny things. For example, they announced that they have relegated the ordinance made during the emergency. It's no longer functioning. But what happens after you accepted it and spent money on it, and now you're saying that it is not going to be implemented? So this kind of thing we need to know. We need to have some people there. This evening I'm not going there because I thought that my people will be there, they will listen. But if you leave the government to talk, the government may talk to an empty house, but it will still be the government.
Thank you, Tun. Chun Kiat from Asahi Shimbun, go ahead, Chun Kiat.
Hi, Tun.
Hi.
Hi, Tun. Yeah, this is Chun Kiat from the Asahi Shimbun. I just want to ask one question is that today the parliament has opened and some people say that the king has a part to play because the king has persuaded the government and politicians to open the parliament. So do you worry that this has set a precedence next time that if politicians want to have something, they will ask the king or persuade the king to do something about what's happening? Is that something, do you think is something not correct or is correct?
The role of the king in a constitutional monarchy is given in the constitution. There are only 3 things that the king can do on his own. All the rest would be on the advice of the government. But now that they had declared darurat or emergency, much of the work to be done would be in the name of the king. The king can decide and instruct anybody to do whatever it is that he thinks fit. That is the provision under darurat. But it is, we are questioning whether this declaration that all the ordinances made during the emergency is valid or not, whether it is the decision made by the king. We need to know that. We also need to know the effect of all these decisions. So now we are having an emergency where the exercise of power seems to be very free. The government seems to assume that it has power. At the same time, in the ordinance, everything is said to be done in the name of the king. So we don't want to have an emergency. We have said this from very beginning because there was no reason for an emergency at that time. At that time, there were only 2,000 new cases. And now, when the cases went up to 17,000, the government doesn't seem to want any more agency. My emergency. So what is this government up to?
Tun, sorry, do you think it is not healthy for democracy if you have the king to keep coming in to intervene, or do you think it's okay for that?
Well, the Constitution provides for a declaration of emergency under certain circumstances where the normal Constitution and the normal laws was not adequate to deal with the situation. And of course, if we have a very big rioting or fighting in the streets, there may be a need for such an emergency. But when this emergency was declared, we had a problem with this pandemic. But it was only 2,000. We could handle that under normal laws. But instead, they asked for an emergency. It was granted. And now they are using the emergency for all kinds of things, including passing laws. Because under an emergency, the government in power can pass laws without going to parliament. And already they are passing laws with regard to funds to be spent. And this is wrong. The government should not do that. There is no reason for that. So an emergency is essential, we admit, under certain cases. But we don't see that it is necessary at the moment when it was declared. But now it looks like things are very serious because the number of cases have increased to 17,000 and they are predicting 25,000. People are frightened. So there may be a case for an emergency now, but the government have decided that now we will do away with the emergency. So there is a contradiction in the way of thinking of this government.
Thank you, Tun. The next question is from Nicholas FMT. Go ahead, Nicholas.
Okay, Tun, two questions for you. Firstly, today, contract doctors, they had the hartal, the protest, they did the walkout protest today, and police have said that they will be summoning some contract doctors. Your thoughts on this? And my second question is, the group Secretariat Solidarity Rakyat, they're planning a protest at Dataran Merdeka on July 31st. I'm wondering if Pejuang and yourself, whether you'll be joining the protest. Thank you, Tun.
Well, with regard to the second question, we have not decided. Pejuang has not decided. We'll have to see the reasons for their action. But with regard to the doctors, I think it's grossly unfair that over so many years, they have been only under contract. They are performing all the work of an ordinary doctor, but they are not given all the, perks that doctors, medical officers get. I think the government should consider giving them contracts after passage of certain number of years. But here they have been there for a long time. They have been performing the work of a doctor, as well as those who are already in government service, but they are not given the same treatment. That is grossly unfair. And I think the government should not try and give some certain things like sweets to them to stop them from going on strike. I think the strike of doctors is not something that anyone would welcome, especially now when we need the services of doctors because of this pandemic.
Baik, ada soalan lain? Is there any more questions? Zakia Koya from The Star. Go ahead, Zakia. Zakia, I think you're muted, so we can't hear you.
Okay, sorry. Assalamualaikum, Tun. With regard to the contract doctors, may I know why, when you were the Prime Minister, this issue which has been ongoing from 2016, nothing was done to fix the problem? Wasn't this issue addressed at all during that time?
Well, contract doctors are a normal thing. Certain periods we do have contract doctors, but over a certain period of time, they should be given permanent posts in the government. Why it was not brought to my attention at that time because it was not a problem. The contract doctors were not complaining because they can see that after being a contract doctor, they can actually be put on permanent service. That is why this was not a problem during my time and during Najib's time also. But now it is a problem because these people have been there a long, long time. That is when they feel the pain of not being treated well by the government.
Thank you, Tun.
I think just to add on to that, during the tenure of Pakatan Harapan and Tun as the Prime Minister, there was also efforts to open up more penjawatan, especially with the opening of Hospital Rembau. So it was handled, but it was not enough time to settle it up. So is there any more questions? Ada soalan lain kenaan kali ini? Tiada? Kalau tak ada soalan lain, mungkin kita boleh bergerak ataupun kita mungkin boleh end the session. Sebelum saya tamatkan sesi ini, mungkin ada apa-apa penambahan daripada Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad dan mungkin ahli-ahli parlimen yang lain?
Saya berpendapat bahawa persidangan ini diadakan semata-mata kerana politik. The politic of the government party. Because the government is feeling very weak, is being under constant attack. That is why they have this sitting. It is not in compliance with the opinion of the Agong or the rulers. The rulers wanted this thing to be done earlier, secepat mungkin, as soon as possible. But they have taken a long time. And now only they are having a sitting of parliament, which is not a parliamentary sitting. Just a forum for explaining government action. That is all. That is not good enough. We are having a big problem. People are dying. People are killing themselves. But this government is only interested in being the government. That is the problem that we face today.
Baik. Terima kasih banyak, Tun. Saya juga ingin mungkin menambah sikit untuk pengetahuan rakan-rakan media yang bertanya, terutamanya soalan daripada Zakia Koya The Star tadi. Pada 2019, 2 Disember 2019, KKM telah tambah 10,675 penjawatan. Ini adalah sewaktu Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad dan Dr. Zulkifli, Menteri Kesihatan dan Perdana Menteri, untuk selesaikan jugalah masalah doktor kontrak ni. Jadi insyaAllah kita harap yang terbaiklah dan kerajaan dapat beri fokus kepada rakan-rakan doktor kontrak yang sedang terkesan dengan apa yang sedang berlaku. Terima kasih banyak, Tun. Terima kasih banyak kepada rakan-rakan media. Terima kasih banyak kepada semua MPs. Thank you so much to the international press who has been here with us. We will meet again in next sessions. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.